Hello, fellow Hellbound friends. My name's Jamie, and this is To Hell in a Podcast.
But you were born. Welcome to planet Earth each day. It's death and more.
Welcome back to the To Hell in a Podcast, guys. A podcast where four fun ladies and really good friends for probably way too long, considering all we know about each other, come together and talk about random topics or things that we find interesting, or just answering random questions and having a good time and enjoying ourselves. So, as always, I'm one of your hosts. You'll hear my voice quite a bit. I'm Kelly. I'm joined today by my three lovely friends. I have Jamie to one side of me.
Hi, I like when you call us lady friends. It makes me
We
feel
are lady friends.
makes me feel sophisticated.
Right? Isn't it so funny because I'm setting us up for failure. It's not a sophisticated podcast, but I'm really making you think that it is.
Somewhere with mimosas in hand.
Exactly. It's very Sex in the City vibes, which is what I'm going for, except we actually like each other.
Yeah.
And then we have Dot down below
Hey.
back with us, and then also Erin, Queen of Scots.
Hello.
Yay. And today, guys, we are doing something super fun. I don't want to give too much of it away because we have a TMI question to get through first. But let me just say, it's probably going to make a lot of ladies out there a little angry, and it's going to make a lot of guys hopefully reassess the way that they think about ladies in terms of literary views. But first things first, our TMI question, it is, what is one of your favorite fictional literary characters, and why do you love them so much? And so I'm going to pop this over to Dot first because she, I'm sure, has a lot of literary characters. So we'll see how she narrows herself down for this one.
I'm curious.
It is very, very hard because for listeners, I was an English major. I have read a lot of books. Some that I wanted to, some against my will. But I'm going to choose one that I'm currently rereading, so it's on my mind more. And Jamie's going to laugh at me when I say it. And he's actually it's a historical character, but his characterization in this book is interesting. It's Thomas Cromwell in Wolf Hall.
Oh, Erin.
Do the like Joe March.
Oh, well, that's like easy. I was just
like your old school. Okay, fine. Cromwell. I knew.
Fine. I thought we were twins, but whatever.
I was just going with one that I've been like rereading lately, so it's on my mind.
Favorite?
What?
Favorite?
One of your favorites. It's one of your favorites.
Okay, fine. One of your favorites.
Yeah, the characterization is really interesting because he's an anti-hero in the books and stuff, but like he's also like she humanizes him in a different way than historically he was thought. So like it's very interesting that like how she does it, and she makes Thomas More the villain even though he's a saint. So I think that it's just
literally a saint.
It's just one of those ones that when you're reading, I'm like, ooh, I wish I could have created this character. She takes what is normally perceived as a villain and humanizes him. But he's also does also do bad shit. So.
He's still shitty.
It's just he's perfectly human. It's like one of those things where you're like, he seems like a fully developed character. But that's all I'll say before Jamie's like she's going to start talking more about it. So I will switch over here. Jamie, you can go then while you're making.
My brain is fried, pregnancy brain. And I feel like in the last few years I've been reading a lot of nonfiction, so it's been hard to kind of be like, oh, character. But one I have to just throw out there, and it's an obvious one for people who know, but Claire Randall Fraser from the Outlander series. I've read all the books. all of them that
Mhm.
have been published. So there's what, 8 of them now that have been published.
Because the ninth one's coming out.
Ninth one's coming
later
out
this
this
year.
year. Yep. So I've read all of them. Humble brag. Back pre-kids, of course, pre.
Yeah. You're a
What is
hefty
the book?
read.
Yep. I just think because because she's a more modern woman. I mean, it spans many, obviously, different decades and things, but she's a bad bitch, nurse, then a doctor, surgeon, and she's just got like a lot of personality and just like she feels like a lived-in person. And as we'll be hinting at later, I think sometimes writing women who are complex and interesting and like she's not perfect.
No, she
She's
makes
also not
dumb mistakes, and but that's
right.
I hate saintly women. Like they think that, and when
Yeah.
people in order to like have women like this character or something that they
But
have
she's
to.
also not like super, where it's like, oh, of course they have to throw in this, like, so she's not, so that you're like,
Yeah.
when they just throw in the flaws to like almost just play it up. It's like, oh,
Right,
she's
'cause we
not
have to have
perfect.
flaws.
Yeah,
She's
and when they don't,
funny.
yeah,
Like,
when they don't let female
Yeah.
characters be multifaceted. Like
Right.
if you're a badass, it automatically means you dress like a tomboy or whatever. Like like they
Right.
just
Or you have a ton of brothers. Okay.
Right.
exactly.
Like I have 4
It's like
brothers.
God forbid you be a badass in stiletto heels and a
Right.
dress. It's like that sort of thing. So
Or be in like a healthy relationship. You know what I mean? You have to be like
yes.
have
What?
like flawed. So I really like just that. And yeah, like her relationship with Jamie, I think is like just really like it's nice when you feel like again spanning many ages and even as she's in her like 50s and 60s, like that she's still badass and still like a central character, in her own in those own books, even though she shares obviously main character roles, but you don't get that a lot, you know what I mean, unless it's like a book directed at like older women.
Yes.
I just think that's really, really cool. And I love her. And I love Jamie. Not me, Jamie. Jamie Fraser. Hot
You just call
boy.
him James. There you go.
There you go. I'll pass to we'll do Kelly because then Erin can jump into her beat.
There you go. So mine is, so I'm kind of in Jamie's same boat. I actually read quite a few autobiographies. It's kind of one of my favorite reads. And so I don't want to choose, they're not actually fictional characters, they're real people who are talking about their real lives. And so, but if I had to choose a fictional character, it's actually another like kind of badass female character, and it would be Professor McGonagall from the Harry Potter series. So, putting aside all of the bullshit with J.K. Rowling, don't know her, never heard of her, but these Harry Potter books that just came into being kind of by magic.
Like the Bible from God.
Exactly. It just sort of came down, and we just won't talk about the creator because it's something bigger than that. But I just think that she is an amazing character. It's like, and there's a lot of good characters in that series, but there's a lot of male characters, and most of the female characters do kind of take a back seat. And the main character is obviously male. It's named after Harry Potter, who's the main character, but she's just a total badass throughout all of it. She takes no bullshit. She's powerful in her own right. It's like, but she's still very complex. It's like she has strong emotions, but she's like a very good moral character. And I just think that she's just the same all throughout the books. It's like she never changes, she never wavers. And I just think she's a total badass in the story. And so it's just
and Maggie Smith is a total badass.
Yeah,
exactly. It's perfectly casted with Maggie Smith as that character, but it's like, and the reason I think I like her so much is because she's an older character and she's not at all described like an old woman. You know what I mean? Like
grandmotherly, like she's not
exactly. And they talk all the time about how women as they get older in Hollywood, it's like all they can be are like aunts or grandmas or moms or whatever. It's like, so when you have somebody write an older character like that who is none of those things, it's like she's actually this badass powerful witch. That's just a really cool thing to see, and it's something enjoyable to have, because it's like, yeah, women can women just stay exactly who they are even as they get older. It's like you don't just suddenly stop being a badass or being powerful or whatever just because now you're old enough to be a grandma. So
know that you're a badass, and then suddenly you hit 60 and you just want to bake.
You become decrepit.
exactly, you just
wear cat sweaters and
exactly, you know, it's like it's like it's just this switch, you know, it's like you're a very sexual person all the way up until you're 60, and then it just like switches off and you go into grandma mode. It's like
full matron.
yeah, it's like that's just not the way it actually works. And so having a complex older female character like that, I just thought was pretty cool. And I just think she's a really good character. She's one of those ones that you like the whole time, you know. But so we're gonna bring it down to Erin so she can answer this TMI question and then also introduce what we're going to be doing today, which again I think will be a lot of fun but also super angering. So Erin, go.
So one of I couldn't decide between one or the other, so I went with females because most of us went with the females. So I went with a gal.
I didn't know that was a theme.
So like there's this book series I read, it's about like supernatural stuff, and one of the characters, her name is Luna, which I love reading the audiobook because they're British, and so the audiobook narrator calls her Lunar because people in England add an R to the end of those, and so do people on the East Coast. So it cracks me up. But she is like cursed with bad luck, so like she always like ends up like just like a bunch of shit ends up happening to her like by happenstance because she's cursed with bad luck. And like as the series like goes on, she like learns how to use that to like benefit her and like screw over other people, which I'm like, I appreciate that. Like we have a thing that like goes against us and we use it to advance ourselves. And like she learns how to like control it and manage it and stuff like that, and becomes like progressively more, she's like 16 when the series starts, and she becomes like progressively more badass. And the main character, who is a guy, never sexualizes her, which is bomb, because
That's
like
awesome.
creeps me out in book series when like they like you can be not attracted to a female, it's okay. Like, it's
yeah,
right.
Men and women can be friends with one another and not have a sexual relationship.
They're friends. And so that,
and sorry Erin, but what's the name of the series, just so people who are listening?
It's called the Alex Beerus series. I pronounced it very wrong until I listened, because I thought it was Varys, incorrect, because that was just logic pronouncing English. But it's the Alex Beerus series, and there's 11 books now. He faithfully comes out with one like every 2 years between September and November, because God bless the man. He went to law school and he's very like regimented sort of guy, so he like releases, so I'm like, God bless you, sir. I know I can always depend on you.
George R. Martin.
Awesome. Just that way, if anybody, you know, listening wants to pick up and it's these badass females or Thomas Cromwell, they know where they can go.
And so what we are talking about tonight is I am going to do some dramatic readings for the ladies of excerpts from books that are men writing women. All right. So I broke it into 2 sections. So the first one is them describing the physical attributes of a woman. And then the second is horrific sex scenes, because why not?
And can I just say, just as a disclaimer for this podcast, we're not saying that all male writers are bad at writing female characters. We know that there are male writers out there. Erin just mentioned one from a series. So just, these are bad male writers writing bad descriptions of women.
What I really want you all to remember, if you are an aspiring author, is that every single one of these people I'm about to read you were published. They weren't self-published. They were published by a publishing company, which means multiple people read this and went, yeah, that looks okay. So just remember, if Twilight,
your dreams,
50 Shades of Grey, and these pieces of shit can all get published, so can you, buddies. All right? So like, live your dreams, live your life. Don't sell yourself short. All right?
But take the lessons from this and don't write female characters this
way.
I
figured we could do, all right, is that you all could, like, for the first one with the physical descriptions, all right, is you all could rate them from like best to worst if you want to. Really bad. They're like really bad.
It's gonna be really hard.
Like, oh God.
I'm gonna get my little whiteboard to take.
So I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And listeners, we have not heard these ahead of time.
No,
we don't know what's gonna happen, and I'm concerned.
So
6.
oh, they're so bad. Yeah, I have 6. So what I was gonna do, okay, is like I said, I was gonna read them for you all and then like have you rate them. I did pick like fairly short-ish passages. One of them is a little bit longer, but I also like skip over the dialogue of parts of it, even though it's also just real bad. So
We have to be judicious, though.
are you ladies ready?
No, but let's do it.
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. Casey had removed her clothes and was standing beneath the shower head, letting the warm, relaxing water flow over her body, because we all do that. She ran her hands slowly over herself, rubbing soap everywhere. Looking down, she was pleased with her female assets. Her breasts were about average size for a woman, oh my God, of her build, and her stomach was flat due to the stringent exercises she went through every day as part of the military. So bad. I'm so sorry. I like read them repeatedly and thought I could make it, but it's really hard, you guys.
Female.
So you should have
Like some lady in the military is like, ooh, look at my average breast. Love them.
so
Sorry.
This is very strange. In that
Yes.
I can feel my face getting red, like trying to hold in the laughter.
It's really hard. It's okay. You should have Ryan come in and take a shower with you, suggested Lauren with a playful laugh as she stepped under the shower head next to Casey. Alexander and I will guard the door so you're not interrupted. Casey blushed and turned her head towards Lauren. I bet the two of you would, she said with a laugh. Seriously, Casey, Lauren said in a more somber tone of voice. You and Ryan might want to consider it. There's no guarantee we're going to survive it. What about you and Alexander, countered Casey. I see how he looks at you. And then there's some more conversation that's really bad. Casey promised as she began to wash her hair. Her hair had started to grow out as they had nothing to cut it with. All women and even the men were beginning to look a little bit shaggy. Casey had never allowed her hair to grow out before. She wondered if Ryan would like her with long hair. Lauren watched Casey as the sergeant finished her shower and began to dry off. Casey was a knockout as far as looks were concerned. Her breasts were young and perky, her stomach was flat with muscles visible, and she had the type of legs men would just die for. It had taken a lot of work on Lauren's part to get Casey to embrace her femininity. Once she'd watched the young female clone, so just blossom into a beautiful human woman.
Wait,
Here's my problem.
I got to it and I was like, clone?
Sorry, I just have to point something out to you. So Lauren is encouraging Casey to have sex because apparently they're about to go into some sort of battle or dangerous situation that they might not survive. And one of Casey's thoughts right before that is, man, I wonder if Ryan will like me with long hair. Like, who gives a shit? You might die tomorrow. Like, whose thought is like, oh, my hair? Like, I wonder if he'll like it.
There's just like 2 more lines.
Okay.
She really wished Casey would take her advice about bringing Ryan into the shower with her. The young woman needed to experience what being intimate with Ryan was like. Lauren greatly feared that if their planned attempt to acquire a command battlesuit failed, Casey would never know that wonderful experience.
Showering together? I'm confused.
No, military people shower together. That part doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, group showering, fine, but how are you going to get Ryan into the group female shower? Number one, that's a party foul. Let me just tell men out there right now, you never invite men into girls' bathing spaces, ever, under any circumstances. The bathroom for women is a sacred place and men are not allowed entry. Like, no.
That's weird.
Yes. Yeah,
But,
that is the
they're
end
gonna
of
die the next day, possibly, and all she's thinking is like, you know what? I need to get this chick banged. Like,
And
she's a good wingman.
and the one just thinking about her average breasts. And
but the other girl thought they were perky tats. Like she was into those.
but just the idea that no woman is ever happy with a part of their body if she's like, average. It's like never.
So
like
average.
you can be neutral about it, but if I was like, man, I have such an average face, that's not a compliment. I'm not saying like, ooh,
No.
like,
No.
look at me.
No,
These
that's what
are
a man
five.
would think, or that's what someone else would think about you. But like you would never think that. I would never be like, What
I can
average
see a guy
breasts
being like,
have?
yeah, average boobs.
And can I just say, I have never slowly soaped myself before. I don't under what is that? Just like, you ever do that? It's like, bitch, I gotta get clean,
I know, I'm like,
God.
right? Like I got 1,000 fucking things I gotta do today in this shower, like
Yeah.
shaving and
I
shit.
have hair. I have to wash and shave and scrub and stuff. No. So we will call number 1 the Clone Wars. All right. So
Yes, I think that's fair.
the first one. Okay. Are you ready for number 2?
No, let's do it.
Okay. She'd been called beautiful by men, but blew that off as a post-orgasmic Y chromosome myopia. She was at best attractive, occupying a body assembled of flat planes rather than curves. Too broad at the shoulders, too narrow at the hips, both of which served to de-emphasize her small waist. She was light years from centerfold territory. Speaking of which, her breasts. At 14, she flattered herself by rating them perky, figuring at some point they'd blossom into lush. And at more than double that age, she'd come to celebrate perky. Her eyes were wide set, but plain brown. She was especially amused when more than one man claimed to discover tiny flecks of gold floating near her pupils. Try as she might, she never found them.
The centerfold, and then speaking of
Speaking of my tits, like
Also, and I'm sorry, is she an alien? Because this is how she's been described to me. She has wide shoulders, a narrow hip, and then wide set eyes. And all I think is like, is she an alien? Like,
I don't know
that's
much
all I
about the
got
rest
out of
of the
it.
book, so
and like, I'm sorry, but do you mean that your eyes are completely brown and yet sometimes you're with men who are so high that they see gold in it? Like that makes no sense.
I know podcast listeners, unless you're doing the video.
I seriously. What?
let me take a picture of that. I'll take a picture of it for we can post it
just
on the
remember her boobs were perky and she settled for perky.
Hold on.
I'm sorry, every woman would settle for perky. The fuck's wrong with you?
Seriously, it's like
What are lush breasts? Like what is a lush? I would never use that word to describe breasts.
I have never in my life, and I have a fairly ample bosom. Like I'm not flat at all. And I have never, ever once in my life looked at any part of my body and just been like, lush. Like, what does that even mean?
Lush makes me think, like I said, hairy, like
yeah, or like a forest,
makes me just think of a drunk person.
Like
he's a lush.
Like talking about like your, I guess, pubic hair, if you were.
Yeah.
She has lush pubes.
Yeah, that's my thought. Is like
write a book. All
seriously.
Right. So we can call this one Alien Woman.
I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair.
There was more to that, but I was like, I can't participate.
No, it's probably good to keep it to the really good stuff because
I'm just like
okay. So you ready for this one? It's okay. But she was, for the bathroom door didn't altogether close due to the old frame of the house settling over the centuries.
And why are they all in the bathroom?
Toilet, some minutes waiting for the pee to come. Men, they were able to conjure it up immediately. That was one of their powers. That thunderous splashing as they stood lordly above the bowl. Everything about them was more direct. Their insides weren't the mazes women's were for the pee to find its way through.
Why is that so much stuff about pee? Do men pee that much?
Well, and also, I'm sorry. What is this book about? Because that sounds very much like she's kind of into the water sports kink. Like, if you don't know what it is, Urban Dictionary it, readers. I'm not going to explain it to you, but it's like, why is she so into how men pee? And also, don't get me wrong, I enjoy that men act like women's bodies are so confusing that they're like, it's just a maze down there. I got no way to know how things are.
Also have a urethra, you morons.
The thunderous splash for the men pee.
It's like,
well, also
that toxic in your masculinity that you even think that you pee better than women?
And here's my thought is that this male author I just picture that he wakes up every morning and he goes to bed at night, and all he is consumed with is, why does it take women so much longer in the bathroom than men? Like he's thinking about it constantly. It's keeping him up at night. He starts drinking because he just can't. And then finally one day he wakes up and he just has this epiphany and he's like, you know what it is? It's because women's kidneys to urethra is a maze, and so they can't just sit down and pee. They have to wait minutes before they can conjure it with like a spell. Like is that what he thinks? He's just like, what is this conundrum of women being in the bathroom so long? And that's his answer, is that men can just conjure it right away.
He's absolutely right. I mean, absolutely.
It is true, but we're not going to tell anybody that because it's a secret. And now we have to find this man and we have to kill him because he's trying to spill the secret.
Our labyrinth of
no. So we will call this third one the pee-pee one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just disturbed by it.
Okay, y'all ready for this one?
No, I'm really not. I haven't been ready for any of them.
This is a shorter one, all right? Okay. Her breasts were enormous, and she obviously wasn't wearing a bra. Her nipples raised the silk into softly shadowed peaks, and when she walked, the bouncing of each bosom was enough to quiet conversation and have even the few faithful Washington husbands glancing over their wives' shoulders. Enormous breast is not wearing a bra. She's wearing a bra.
Nothing makes me angrier than when men try and describe big-breasted women as not wearing bras out in public.
It ain't happening.
It does happen sometimes, but no sane woman with big boobs. Do you know how much that? I mean, that whole passage pained me physically. The idea of big breasts bouncing around, that shit hurts.
Well, and in the paragraph before, her dress is low backed, so she can't even wear a strapless bra. That like,
and her breasts were enormous.
Yeah, they were enormous.
Enormous breasts. No, unless they're fake, which they're never fake in these stories, because at least fake ones, it's like they're kind of meant to hold their shape. Like they don't bounce as like independently of each other. But it's like if I want guys to have to wear those bras, like those weighted bras, where it's like you just basically put in a 5-pound weight on both sides, and like and wear a poorly lined bra the entire day, right? You know, it's like, and then take it off at the end of the night and tell me how your neck and shoulders and like lower back feel
bad.
It would hurt so fucking bad. Oh, it's the worst.
So we'll call that one boobies. That one's gonna be called boobies. All right.
I think it should be enormous boobies.
Yeah, enormous boobies.
They were giant knockers.
Jamie, average. I have to warn you, this next one might make you a little upset because of your current condition. All right, because he's not talking nicely about pregnant women. So Rick did not pause to analyze the psychology of the pregnant woman. It had not occurred to him that pregnancy was a complete paradox. It is paradoxical in that only the female of the species can perform the amazing feat, while perhaps being less psychologically prepared for it than a male would have been. No woman enjoys the sight of sagging breasts and a bulging stomach, no matter how maternal her urge. A woman's good looks are a woman's good looks, and there is little good looking about a pregnant woman. Like, what the fuck, Rick? Like,
Whoa!
We are less psychologically prepared for it, Rick. I was deeply offended reading that as a woman who has been pregnant twice and had 2 babies. Like,
what
I felt cute as a pregnant person. I felt cute a lot of the times too.
Oh, I don't feel cute, but you don't need to remind me of my sagging breasts and my.
Also, it's kind of like, number one, there is a bunch of porn out there to prove you wrong that there are not people who find pregnant women attractive. So also go fuck yourself.
Right.
It's like the idea that he thinks that a man could deal with giving their body up for 9 months to basically be like a vessel for a child to grow in, and then push that out of a tiny ass hole that gets bigger, but not as big as a fucking baby.
Now you still have to pull that baby out of there.
Yeah, it's like, will you get in the crotch and you're done for the day. You would never survive it, Rick. You would never survive
And
it.
like the thing is too, it's like psychologically, you're a wuss. Like, I mean, like the amount of men who have fainted, passed out, puked, cried and not like crying happy tears when they have seen a woman give birth is a lot. It's a lot. My friends who work in labor and delivery and they have had to take care of a fainting husband before.
Right.
But you sure are psychologically prepared to deal with it there, bud.
If it was up to men, yeah, there would be like way less babies. If men
Yeah, no, we'd be out of this as a species.
And I don't care what anybody says, women do have a higher pain tolerance
they
than men do.
scientifically have proven that women do in fact have a higher pain
So
tolerance.
I don't have any babies. Everyone knows this about me. I'm kind of anti-baby for myself, not other people's babies. Love other people's babies. Don't want them my own. But I got pancreatitis once, which is super painful. And I remember when I went into the like ICU room that they were keeping me in or whatever, like the long-term room, the nurse was like, she's like, man, she's like, I can't believe that you're doing as okay as you are. And I was like, oh, it's like, what do you mean? She's like, I've had men, like fully grown men with this same condition. And she's like, they are literally curled up in the fetal position, like they can't handle it. And she's like, what's your number right now? I was like, I don't know, like maybe an 8.5 or a 9. I was like, it sucks really hardcore, but I was like, I'm not about to be a little bitch about it. Like, it's like, so go fuck yourself, Rick, and whoever wrote that, because go fuck yourself.
That one is by far my least favorite.
Yeah, Rick
so
I'm sure no, hopefully he's not married and or wants, or the worst would be if he's married and he has kids. It's like
his wife's like, this motherfucker. Like,
yeah.
I didn't really think it was an asshole. You go to hell.
Seriously.
Right. So we've got one more. Okay. This is just so great. So we'll call that Rick the asshole or Rick the dick. We'll call it that. Okay. So behind him, a pretty little red-haired teeny bopper, braless and white shorts, smiled excitedly and said, we always catch you on Tuesday night. You're fantastic. And you look in real life, you look just like on the screen, except that in real life, you're more, tanned. Her friendly nipples jiggled.
How are they?
How did the nipples independently jiggle from the boobs?
As someone who has nursed 2 children, I have never in my life, even when pumping my nipples, had them jiggle before.
Because all I imagine is like, if this is a boob, that there's just a nipple, but it's just like jiggling on its own while the boob is remaining stagnant.
That why it's friendly? Is it waving? That's why it's friendly.
Is it like a tail? Like when it gets happy, your nipple.
When it gets laggy.
And I like that they're friendly too. Her friendly nipples.
I'm like, I would never describe my nipples as friendly. Are they like?
Yeah,
I have mean nipples.
I mean, I don't know what my nipples.
They're angry mom nipples. They're like,
the whole thing, the beginning when he said braless teeny bopper was very disturbing. But then I got to the friendly.
Super disturbing.
And I was like, yep, I'm including this one.
Yeah, because I just don't understand how nipples themselves are jiggling, like just on their own. How?
Question: was this written by or ghost written by Woody Allen? I mean, just saying.
Possible. It's definitely possible. I mean, he's a creepazoid, so it's definitely
teeny bopper without a bra. That's like
that really covers the gamut for a lot of creeps. So we'll call that friendly nipples. All right, so those are all of the physical descriptions. I had more, but I was like, we could do like a 5-hour long podcast on this, so I'm just gonna.
Well, I'm sure we'll be revisiting this again because I've enjoyed and hated this all.
I both enjoyed and hated it at the same time as I was putting everything together.
Next time, I want all just physical descriptions, and we have to draw our version of. I gave her right here.
Oh, she's so pretty.
Look at her.
I like your notes on these, by the way.
I know.
Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle on number 6, like friendly nipples jiggle.
She does have those very perky boobs.
All right, so what
is your line? Yeah, I like it's like this is like a really creep board. I wouldn't want anybody.
Yeah, just erase it.
No bra. Yeah, wiggle, jiggle, friendly nipples.
So I want you all to vote which one was the least bad.
probably, now was the first one the military one,
The Clone
Clone Wars?
Wars, yes. Yes,
I would probably decide Clone Wars was the least
Yeah.
offensive out of all of them.
because it was just a bad way of describing a woman looking at herself, but like it wasn't like intensely offensive. It's just like she had nice boobs and a flat stomach. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it is weird that men think that all we do is talk about each other in a sexual way. We
and also
never do
slope our
that.
tits
but-
up a lot in the shower. Like there's a lot of tits open that I
Yeah.
just don't.
Gotta studs those.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't need that much attention.
so dirty. Just really gotta suck these up. That yeah. So yeah, I agree. That's probably the least offensive to like me as a female. I'm still like, you've clearly never been with a woman sexually. However,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
that is not. So I think that Clone Wars number 6 got that. What else we got for
So
number
number-
5?
Alien. Alien.
Yeah,
woman.
I was gonna go with the alien description because again,
Weird description, weird, like, yeah, as Jamie showed, weird. I can't imagine how she would look, but
The part of it that really like bothered me was, so there's the first paragraph and then the next is just, speaking of which, her
I know.
breasts.
The
And then
light is from a
paragraph.
centerfold. Speaking of which, now that we're talking about centerfolds, not-
Talk about
let's
those
talk
things.
about our boobs. Like, yeah.
So bad, but you're right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't understand why, like, why when you're describing female characters, why do we need to know what her boobs look like? I mean,
Because I always look at my tits and then describe them regularly.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're about to enter a sexual scene with that character for
Yeah,
whatever
sure.
reason, you know, it's like, and you want to describe her in a sexual manner, that's totally fine. It's the ones where it's like, they describe them in this sexy manner, and then it's like, oh, and by the way, now we're in the middle of a battle, and you're like,
She was walking down the street with her perky tats.
yeah, exactly. And then she saved a dog from getting hit by a car. And it's like, were her breasts necessary for the save? Like, did they act as like, you know, cushions that saved the dog? Like, why are you letting me know about their boobs?
Our breasts are detachable and can save small animals.
It's true. They're also flotation devices.
Correct.
So
Yes, they
you're
are.
welcome.
don't give male writers any more ammunition.
Oh, they're all bad.
I don't think
We're not
we
doing
do.
anything.
I
All
don't
right,
think
what
we do.
would you say next? So we have
So number
enormous
4.
breasts. We have pregnant lady. We have teeny bopper, and we have the piss one, pee one.
I would probably say enormous breasts for me.
Yeah, me too.
I think that the bottom 3 are pretty easy to rank. I think the next 3 are going to be more difficult.
Yes, because they're all incredibly offensive.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
like I said, so we've got pee, we've got pregnant lady, and we've got teeny bopper, friendly nipples.
Yeah, friendly nipples. I would probably put the P one next, just because it's like,
It's just weird.
It's
that's just
wrong.
weird.
It's biologically incorrect.
Yeah.
Like
For
that-
any men out there listening, or ladies who have not learned about their own bodies yet, there are absolutely no mazes in your body.
no.
It's,
That like
it's pretty,
your intestines are
pretty
just the thing.
straightforward.
And kidneys, it all just
Yep, funnels
We all-
down.
all right. Everybody pisses. Like it's not really not harder for anyone else than another person.
Also, don't understand in what context that, like, is this important to the story? Is the peeing important to the story? Like,
That
what?
is what I will say, it's compelling writing because I do want to know more. Not because I think it's a good story, but just because I'm like, who's this psychopath writing this that we now need to like probably have on like an NSA watch list?
I do not know anything else about the books because I chose not to look them up
Thank you.
and give them any sort of ad space. So
I appreciate that completely.
yeah, this is
So
mostly
then
searching.
number 2, I would put
Like-
friendly nipples there.
Yes.
Now it is disturbing. Anybody who describes a person as a teeny bopper really is just a way to try and say child without becoming a
Without saying, I'm a
pedophile.
pedophile.
Yeah, and so that's really disturbing, but you know, hopefully in the actual story she's at least 18. But yeah, anybody who's into that very
Yeah.
small Lolita style girl, that's pretty bad. But I would have to give number 1 to the pregnancy because
Correct.
I have never read something in a book that so blatantly shows that the author hates women. And I highly encourage, if somebody from the FBI or CIA or anyone with any sort of authority listens to this podcast, please find out what book that is. Please make sure that you are putting a watch on that man, because that sounds to me like the first
no.
of the
I
guy who's
didn't
about to
read
serial
you.
killer a bunch of women.
I actually didn't read you the part before, which is very upsetting. I avoided it, but I can definitely read it if you want to hate the man more.
I don't think I need it, honestly, because my face will get too red and I don't have the correct lighting to stop it.
I read it and I was like,
I think it's bad enough. I mean, because really it's like, it's all going to be mostly the same, of a man who's probably never touched a woman and he's real angry about it, and he's writing his feelings.
Misogyny is deep.
Well,
Like,
and that's the thing.
I almost read that line and I was like, I'm not going to do that to a pregnant person on this podcast.
I know.
Physical description enough, but then like to say like psychologically, it's like, fuck you. Like, you have no clue.
Seriously.
Like, most people are like, oh, women, like give women that credit, and it's like,
yeah,
like,
you all out, asshole.
Right.
Or got
Seriously, you have a mom who had to carry you, and now look at the disappointment you have become to her. She went through 9 months and probably a very painful delivery with you, and look at what you've done.
But
and you think that you could psychologically handle that?
Fuck
What-
you, Rick.
the problem was she wasn't bangable during that time. If
Yes,
she had
that's true.
looked bangable,
Mhm.
then
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. Yeah, I avoided the line before it because I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. And just as a sidebar, Jamie, you're beautiful
You're
and
beautiful.
you're glowing.
And glowing.
And none of us on this podcast or any normal person in the world thinks that about pregnant women.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
You are a babe.
not myself. I hate being pregnant, but how dare that guy? I want
That's where that-
Seriously.
I want
Especially
Kevin
because
to tell me how beautiful I am, even though I feel like horrible.
Well, because all I can think is like Ali Wong being like, I'm not doing shit. I'm making a foot right now. It's like, you think I have time to worry about the fact that my boobs are sagging or that my stomach is getting bigger? It's like, are you joking? I'm making an eye right now. Can you make an eye? Whatever your name is? No, I didn't think so.
I regularly quoted that when I was pregnant. So yes, I feel that.
Seriously.
Well, and so the next section is terribly written sex scenes. I did not do like whole sex scenes because I didn't want to put us through that, and also I might die. But
Yeah, I'm worried about my lack of oxygen during this, actually.
I have 5 passages. All right.
Bye, lady. Say goodbye to Alien.
No.
Bye, alien lady.
All
So
right.
you, goddamn, I'm sorry. I'm exhausted again and forgot. So you all, this is the first one, okay? I don't know what to think of it. And I do want to preface by saying that I found many of these because England, God bless that country, every year gives an award for bad sex. It's called the Bad Sex Award, and they give it out to to authors for writing terrible sex scenes. God bless you, England. I appreciate you for that. Okay, so I found a lot of these from that because there was some stuff on Reddit, but I was like, man, these are just like they're bad. Like, don't get me wrong, but I was like, they're not like
laughably
weird,
bad.
bad. Like I was like, yes, clearly this person has had sex one time in missionary position. So I mean, like, but so I got many of these from the Bad Sex Awards. So many of these have actually won the Bad Sex Award or been nominated for it. Okay. Okay. At this, Eliza and Ezra rolled together into one giggling snowball of full-figured copulation, screaming and shouting as they playfully bit and pulled at each other in a dangerous and clamorous roller coaster coil of sexually violent rotation, with Eliza's breast barrel rolling across Ezra's howling mouth and the pained frenzy of his bulbous salutation, extenuating his excitement as it whacked and smacked its way into every muscle of Eliza's body except for the otherwise central zone.
I'm sorry. So let me just make sure that I'm understanding, because that was so like
I'm just like picturing
so when he was saying bulbous hitting on every one of her, is he just beating the shit out of her with his penis? Is that what's happening? Because that's how I interpreted that. Is that the bulbous
just like quick.
Yeah, that he's just walking around bouncing that shit, but like on every muscle of her body. Like
I pictured boobs barrel rolling, and
That's what I like honestly couldn't even hear the last part because I was just trying to picture how boobs would barrel roll.
See, and I let that go immediately because I was like, honestly, you can only do that. What it's like tit in and then tit out again. Like that makes no sense with the rolling. With the whole bulbous whatever hitting every single muscle of her body.
Bulbous salutation. Extenuating its excitement as it whacked and smacked its way into every muscle of Eliza's body, except for the otherwise central zone. So does he mean except for her vagina?
He literally in this scene hits her with his penis on every muscle group until he but except the central one where the penis actually needs to go. Tell me that's not what it's saying.
Nice massage.
The giggling snowball threw me too.
Yeah, it's just it was very weird. Okay.
And also the biting and hair pulling, it's like, buddy, you have to pick a lane. Either they're having rough sex or they're having unicorn sex. Like I can't tell which one it is, but
1 and 2 with barrel rolling titties.
So
we will call this first one barrel rolling titties. Yeah. Is what we will call
I think
this.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
Picture what was going on because it was
the weirdest shit.
What are you joking? That's like a normal Tuesday night for me. Barrel rolling titties. Come on now.
Okay. Alrighty.
All right, I'm ready. Okay. I'm not, but I'll try and be.
Proudly, he manipulated his wide, floppy, fat penis. I'm sorry.
Wait, say that one more time. Why?
Yeah, sorry. Why beat yourself?
Proudly, he manipulated his wide, floppy, fat penis inside of her sex cave, grunting and groaning as his member climbed its way up her womanly rock walls until finally, minutes later, his soft, throbbing gonads rested inside her and began to distribute their man pollen. She groaned as her uterus blossomed and opened to accept his seed. Oh my God. Orgasming as tidal waves of her viscous fluid enveloped his shaft and testes. Then together, entwined as one being, they drifted away into hibernation.
I'm in physical pain. I'm in so much pain.
I'm sorry.
Rock climbing the cave and then the rock.
I never want a man's penis during sex to be described as floppy, fat.
Well, I'm so sorry because I feel like there's so much to unpack there. But so he shoves his penis and his balls inside of this woman.
It says that his soft, throbbing gonads rested inside her and began to distribute their man pollen. Okay. Also, he then says her uterus blossoms and accepts his seed. It shouldn't. Your cervix should not be that open while you're having sex, because if it is, you're giving birth. So, but then orgasming as tidal waves of her viscous fluid enveloped his shaft and testes.
The rock.
So this guy thinks that when he has sex that he's shoving both. He thinks the entire, he thinks this and this all goes inside of the.
Yes, only though apparently if you want to have sex and then go into hibernation for the winter, do you have that type of sex? That's
so are they supposed to be a different type of species? It's all I can hope is that there's some species of animals that when they have sex,
these are humans.
Oh, I dead. You can't do that to a pregnant woman. I was peeing myself.
I was in pain, like my chest,
my really proud that I actually got through it somehow successfully.
I don't know how you did.
I'm in physical pain, from the cave to the rock climbing to the man.
Yes, because here are two
man pollen.
That I have a really bad problem with is number one, again, a floppy penis is not a penis that's going inside of somebody's.
It's not ready for sex. No.
It gets rigid, and that's what you need. Floppy, not good. Rigid, sure. Floppy, no.
Floppy day-to-day.
Also, the description of a woman's channel being climbing a rock climbing wall. It's again, ow. Imagine running your penis along a rock climbing wall. It's like, that's not a good description of that either.
No, they're her womanly rock walls, so they're probably very soft.
They're still rock walls. Like, terrible description. Just
no, it's really bad, y'all. I'm not. I'm really proud of myself that I made it through that.
So can I say, I don't know if we have been titling these videos, but if we do start that this time, this one needs to be called Womanly Rock Walls. just my long and short of it. That's what I think this podcast. This
mostly I just title episode whatever blah 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 crew, but I can call this one episode 6.
Womanly rock walls, and then people are gonna be like, "What?" and they're gonna have to listen.
Exactly.
They're gonna click. I mean, that's
so. The first one, barrel rolling titties. This one, womanly rock walls. All right.
I can't believe we're only through 2 of them.
Yeah.
I was physical, like my chest hurts from laughing. So I don't know how many I could physically do, and
that's why I only did 5.
Like because I was like actually like sobbing.
Okay. Okay. Tatsuro moaned as a bulge formed beneath the material of his kimono, a bulge that his partner seized, kneaded, massaged, squashed, and crushed. With the fondling, his penis and testicles became one single mound that rolled around beneath the grip of her hand. She felt as though she was manipulating a small monkey that was curling up its paws.
I'm just trying to envision that.
How?
I picture like Abu from Aladdin because I just watched Aladdin.
Just crash.
How dare you defile all of these animated and good characters from our childhood, G?
It's a monkey curling up its paws
under a kimono.
Yeah. He's being murdered because she is squashing.
I mean, and here's my thing, guys. I don't want to kink shame anybody. Some people are super into that.
Yes, it's a kink.
You do you if you're a masochist and that's what you enjoy. You know what? Live and let live. Just be consensual adults and do what you want to do. But how? I mean, because I'm just picturing a monkey and then curled up. Why are there 2? What does each hand represent?
I don't know.
Are the hands the balls, and then the head is the monkey head? Like I don't
know. But it's not sexy.
How?
I like how she felt as though she was manipulating a small monkey, as if she has done that before.
Exactly.
Too.
I was about to say, like, oh, this reminds me of when I manipulated that small monkey.
And here's just my problem, right? Is that I just need somebody to explain to me which parts of the monkey translate to which part of the genitals, because I can't figure it out.
If it makes you feel any better, this did win a bad sex award. So
it deserves it.
Yes, this did for sure win a bad sex award.
Because this one, I don't even know. It's like, it's bad, but it's more confusing than anything. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. There's either something really wrong with his genitals,
monkey's paw.
This person never had sex before in their life.
Monkey's paw is this one. All right. That is what this one. Okay. All righty. The next one. Are you ready? Here we go. The dark made it all right. Max leaned back on his elbows and Clara pulled his briefs off. He had a large, thick penis, bronze in the light, an upward curve to it that struck Henry as diabolical, the balls of a horse. Clara stroked it. Henry and Effie watched. Effie opened her legs and Henry pushed her underwear aside at the groin. He hadn't felt her in so long. Her prodigious hair, her plump labia, she was soaked. I'm like, how many people are involved in this scene?
And is this 2 couples having sex?
Correct, yes.
And is Mark a horse?
No. So he leaned back on his elbows. So I think he's a person.
Balls of a horse. Yes.
He's got the balls of a horse.
Yes. His penis was diabolical. If anyone ever described his penis as diabolical, I don't want anywhere near it. Like, I don't want
because all I picture is like a little penis head and then like two little horns on the end. like little devil penis.
Like, I'm coming for you with my horse balls.
They just don't seem very. Penises seem more goofy than diabolical. Like a vagina.
That's just the thing.
That's a maze. That's diabolical.
Yeah.
Here's my thing, right? Is that I have sympathy for writers who have to try and make the penis seem sexy, because the truth is that if you look at a penis, like just clinically look at a penis, they're really odd. Like the balls and the penis, like they're not aesthetically pleasing. And I'm not trying to say like that a vagina is even better. At least all that stuff is inside you, though. Like the balls are just like hanging down there
in your face,
being all, not pleasing to the eye. So I understand that it is difficult to try and make a penis seem like a good thing or like seem like an attractive thing.
Right.
But diabolical, it's like what's the penis doing? Like, is it laughing? like, yeah, is it rubbing its like ball hands together? Like, oh, gonna get in there and destroy this vagina. Like, I don't understand,
We will call this diabolical penis.
Yes.
Right, this one. And so here is the last one. Alrighty. Say, baby, put that pipe down and get my pipe up, Robo said to one of the girls. She was so intoxicated she had trouble standing, but Robo was her sugar daddy, and as he sat in a filthy, imitation leather couch there in a living room of a rundown 3-room apartment, she obediently performed oral sex on him. I would, in fact, like to cap that off by reminding you all that sex scene was written by Bill O'Reilly.
No!
How dare you do that?
Of course, he is a woman.
Dare you
that
evil on us?
He has even worse. And the book he wrote with all the terrible sex scenes is about a newscaster, like in his similar position, murdering people. So I told you. And then
so let me just
not even the worst. There were several others that were real bad.
Yeah, so let me just preface this again by saying, for everyone out there, men and women listening, consent is really important. A drunk person cannot consent, even if you're in a prior relationship with them, unless it's a pre-negotiated kink that you are deciding to enter into.
Right.
That shit is bullshit. Bill O'Reilly, you're a disgusting, disgusting person.
And then look what charges came against him in the future. What a surprise.
What a shock that guys who write these kind of sex scenes somehow don't respect women or consent. What? Crazy. Yeah. But also the fact that he's the sugar daddy, but apparently has an imitation leather couch and a rundown. Like, what sort of sugar daddy is he?
Spends all his money on her. All of his money on her.
Seriously, I'm saying upgrade. You can do better than some guy who can't even afford a real leather couch.
If any man in my life said to me, get my pipe up, I would choke him to death. Because I was like,
nope. Be like, I'm sorry, you want me to do what?
No. I won't be doing that. I'll never be touching that again. See you later. Bye. I'm going to go upgrade to a hot, less creepy sugar daddy because they exist. Bye. See you later. Or I'll make
diabolical penis.
Yeah, I'll make my own. See you later. So yeah, there's that.
So I feel like our friendship is over, Erin. I can't believe that you would put that on all of us, that you were like, you know what, this is something terrible that I had to read. And instead of absorbing this damage, I'm going to share it with my closest friends.
And with a pregnant woman who gets these really vivid, weird pregnancy dreams. Now I'm
welcome to see Bill O'Reilly on an imitation leather couch as he takes advantages of a really drunk woman.
And that character is not even supposed to be Bill O'Reilly. So
he's gonna be in Jamie's dream. Sorry, Jamie.
Character in the book who's clearly him, who gets laid a bunch, and the sex scenes are really incorrect. Like there's a lot of weird feet stuff in there that I was like,
let's just pretend like this is something we never any of us heard about and go to the ranking portion of it, because seriously, I'm gonna have to drink a ton to forget all about this.
Yay. We will call this one Sugar Daddy is what we will call this.
How about we call it Bill O'Reilly is a complete and utter douchebag and everyone on this podcast hates them.
Yes, I
That's a good one.
certainly hope he chokes on a pipe. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna
his
rate
own pipe cut off and shoved down his throat. That's all I'm saying.
we are gonna rate them. All right. So
Okay.
1 to 5, obviously 1 being the most spectacular, 5 being the least spectacular. So what would you all put at 5?
So I guess the least offensive out of all of those, just in terms of all of the issues that they had, is probably the one where the guy just uses his floppy penis. I don't know
No,
what
that's number 1, baby.
Why floppy? Number 2? Why in floppy?
No, I'd say floppy is number 5.
No, we're saying 5 is the one that we like the least.
That's the exact opposite of how we did the last ones. The last one we did it by the least offensive to the most offensive.
Okay. I mean, I consider that very offensive because he assumes you put your testicles into a woman's vagina.
It's true, but it's in comparison.
I'd say monkey. I'd say a boo the monkey because I'm just confused.
Okay, that could be number 5.
Yeah, because like that's just someone who's clearly into like crushing my penis fetish. So I mean, I can get down with that.
That one offends me more just because I don't understand it. Like,
I also don't want to picture a monkey when I think about sex.
I feel like I'm gonna wake up out of a dead sleep at 3 a.m. and been like, how is a penis like a monkey with its paws curled up? How? Like it's gonna haunt me.
It's confusing to me, but it would be between that one and to me, number 1, and the hitting everything but the vagina is what's.
Oh yeah, the smacking, the penis smacking,
and the barrel
So
rolling.
sorry,
stuff.
how are we doing this one? Is it gonna be the least offensive to the most offensive? Are we ranking this the same way?
I'm ranking the one that I'm like that one I'm like, okay,
monkey paw.
Weird.
So then what goes after monkey paw?
Probably 1 or 4.
So
Balls of a horse or the diabolical. I'm like
the diabolical.
Yeah, probably the diabolical one. I mean, it's weird that there's 4 people there getting it on, but again, that's just more confusing than anything. What makes a penis diabolical?
I really don't want a person ever describing my labia as plump. I don't know if that's a word I ever want used to describe my labia, but each have their own there. All right.
Balls of a horse is a little disturbing, but yeah, compared to me, it would be then because it would be monkey, diabolical penis, then it would be barrel rolling breasts.
Yeah. Though really, if you think about it, I'm sorry, the idea of like a guy hitting you all over your body with their penis, it's like that just seems super like that
everywhere but where it belongs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quack, 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 quack.
Yeah, I could put that as number 3 though.
Yeah, because it's just weird. It's just weird.
Yeah, because I'd probably put Bill O'Reilly then at number 2. Just because, I mean, it really should be number 1 because, guys, consent is so important. I cannot even begin to describe how important it is. And the fact that there are men who write scenes like this and clearly think that that's
okay
consent, like that just shows you how fucking messed up the way that we raise men these days.
So he gives her money, so she should do what he wants. Bill O'Reilly's opinion about women.
Yeah, that's just kind of something to think about.
Yeah, that thematically compared to number 2, but number 2 is just so all the metaphor and the
floppy fat penis. It's just
I forgot about it being floppy, and I forgot about her rock walls and
the entire
sex cave.
And the fact that then they go into hibernation. It's like, how long do they hibernate? How long is his penis locked inside of her body?
Yes. Because it's then together, entwined as one being, they drifted away into hibernation for the winter season.
So,
that sounds like you're waiting to get an infection is what that sounds like.
I'm against it.
I'm just so confused. Like it's so not sexual. Like the whole thing, you just be like, what?
And plus, I also really enjoyed that it starts with proudly he manipulated his wide, floppy, fat penis. Like wide and fat. Okay, like a girthy penis.
Sure. All right. Some women are into it.
Why is he
floppy?
Why is he so proud?
Did I not do it? Are we not compatible with each other? Like, are you not feeling this?
Right.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, a floppy penis in the middle of sex to me is not a turn on, even more so because it's like, are you not feeling this, or like,
Are you okay?
how do we get this
Everything all
doing what it
right?
needs to be doing? Like,
Plus, I mean, maybe if you put the floppy penis in the penis slapper one, that would make a little bit more sense. But yeah,
those are maybe written by the same person, because it's like,
the first one is written by Morrissey, like the singer.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
I need you to stop telling me this stuff.
No, I don't
I
want it
need
to
you
over.
to let this stuff just be the stuff. I just need you to stop giving me this kind of context, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, Rockwall. Who's the Rockwall one written by?
that one I do not know.
Okay.
I do not know.
Don't.
It's not gonna be like
Don't. All right, because one day she's going to come up with one of these and it's going to ruin somebody you actually love. Do you really want that to happen? Live in the ignorant bliss of knowing that this is out here, but you don't know who's writing it.
Yeah, I did not recognize the person's name on it, and so I just didn't register to my memory. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow. Well, Jamie is determined to try and ruin all of our childhoods with these terrible associations.
Yeah, you won't take him from us. He was an angel.
A boo.
So before Jamie can ruin any more of our childhood on this episode, I think that's probably a pretty good place to stop. We love Mr. Rogers on this podcast. I will make that an official statement, with or without you both. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. This one was a very interesting look into the way that males will sometimes write female characters. You know, all I can say is, women, I'm sorry, this is the kind of bullshit we deal with. Men, do better, is what I would say to you. You know,
talk to a woman for a couple minutes, ask her maybe how her brain works, maybe how she perceives sex, her boobs.
Yeah.
About her,
and just, you know, just really look at the way that you interact with women, and look at the way that the men around you interact with women, and step up and do something about it when it's clearly not right, because some of these men are obviously very clearly angry with women, and maybe what they need is some of their male counterparts to tell them, hey, stop being a total dickhead about it. But anyway, that's probably another podcast topic for another time. But thanks everybody for joining in. We hope you guys enjoyed this. Let us know which of these you found most offensive, because I'm sure you found some of them. And if you can explain to me how the hell a penis is like a curled up monkey, I would be so grateful for you to be able to explain that in a way that, like, I can visually make sense of that, because it's going to keep me awake at night.
We are learning our explicit rating on this one.
We really are. This one definitely deserves it. So as always, guys, please make sure to like, rate, subscribe, you know, all of that fun stuff. We appreciate when you do it, and it helps the podcast out. But until next time, we hope you have a really good week. We hope that you're able to scrub the images of all of these scenes that we've described to you out of your mind. And we will see you next week for another episode of To Hell in a Podcast. Bye, guys.
Bye.
You didn't ask for a bird, but you were born. Welcome to planet Earth each day. It's death and more. And while we watch you die,